Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Hutton's Valley Permaculture. It was about 14 months ago I was here in my apricot guild to do a chop and drop on this Tagasaste tree, and I'm back here to do another one. So I thought I'd bring you along again, and you can see the difference 14 months makes in terms of how much mulch these trees grow. Last time we were here, this tree was just about to come out in flower, and this time I've let it do so. Mostly because I had lots of other things to do. So it's certainly helping keep our bees happy, but it's getting to the end of the flowering season and it's starting to produce all the seed pods, which we don't need too many more seeds. So it's the perfect time to be taking this tree down and giving the light that's always needed for this poor little apricot tree down the end of my swale. We'll just make sure that it does get the light it needs coming into spring. Now my apricot trees have not been all that productive as yet, but this is the most flowers that I've seen on it. So maybe last year's pruning of the Tagasaste gave it enough light to bring it to life this season. I also did quite a big prune on the tree too, which might have helped. But other apricot trees in this area haven't really done that well in recent years. So maybe it just hasn't been their time. But hopefully some of the bees that Tagasaste tree has brought down this way have found their way to this apricot tree, and maybe we'll get some production this year. Also next to the apricot tree, which I am quite mindful of as well, is this acacia, which has got a really soft yellow flower, and it'd be a good pollen source for the bees. They're mostly on the Tagasaste for that nectar. They love the carbs over the protein, but I will be giving this a little bit of a pruning as well. Once again, just to make sure that, you know, some of these branches really aren't impacting on the growth of my productive tree, or hopefully soon to be productive tree anyway. So the plan with this tree is just sort of to take out these middle big branches and perhaps over there leave a few smaller branches because I still want to keep this tree alive. If I were to take too much out, it doesn't matter, you can just plant another and they grow really quickly. But I'm going to try and avoid actually killing it. The last time I was at this tree, I did leave a big branch sort of coming up through here somewhere, and I was going to come back and trim it off, but it looks like maybe I didn't get to it, and I'm feeling like I might just leave that one on again. It kind of just interacts with the acacia up there together, so if I leave that and leave that, it's not going to impact too much on either of my two apricots, the one you've seen, and a second tree over this side. Now this branch just through here could go, and that will leave this apricot tree to open up a little more in this area without being sort of swamped by that tree. So I think that's our plan. We'll take out a third big branch, and that might kind of do it for the Tagasaste. Well, there's a pile of mulch that my apricots are going to love. Now, just looking at what's left to do, I'll try and get some of that acacia down just there. Plenty more room to move on this side of the apricot tree, and plenty of north and west light to come. Just standing back from the trees, you can see one apricot there and then the second apricot just here. So we've got our Tagasaste and Acacia on the berm back there. We do have some smaller volunteer trees that are pioneers, the acacias, here, here, and here, which aren't really impacting just at this point. But if I was worried about it, I'd probably just take the top out of each of them just to make sure that there was no impact. But I think we're fairly sort of safe at the moment, but that's the sort of thing that I keep an eye on. Just have to watch out for a few little raspberry plants around the place, which are just coming to life now. There's a few leaves down there. So I won't be putting any mulch on those, but reserving it for the apricots. This is my third apricot tree, so it seems fair to share all of this mulch around. And it looks like I might be having to do the same with a second Tagasaste, but I might make that another day. This apricot has blossoms on it this year as well, so who knows, maybe I might get an apricot to enjoy this year. I do have a few little plants to look after up here. These are some chamomile that I planted, and I've still got these daffodil bulbs here which are gathering energy for their bulbs, so I've got to be a bit mindful of those and make sure I don't bury them. And that'll do it for that tree. All fairly rough, but with the tree sort of getting bigger now, you don't have to chop it too small. That will all just sort of settle down. Well, that's the job done for another year. It's really amazing what these trees can put on in 14 months. Check out last year's video to see what it had initially put on before its first big chop and drop and compare. They're really fantastic in their support roles, one of which is as a mulch producer. And I'm sure my apricots will be a lot happier going into summer with all that mulch on the ground and the soil covered. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.